Hey friends, it's Jason S. Bradshaw and welcome back to Chats with Jason. Now let me ask you a question. What happens when some of the world's most disruptive marketers, coaches and creators walk on stage, not just to teach tactics, but to shift your soul? That's what day 2 of Funnel Hacking Live did for me. And in this solo episode, I'm not here to give you a play-by-play recap. I'm here to transfer the transformation. But I just don't attend events like Funnel Hacking Live to take notes. I go to activate breakthroughs for myself and for leaders just like you. So let's get into it. Day 2 kicked off with Trent Shelton. Now, Trent's a former NFL player turned motivational powerhouse. And he didn't just kick off the day, he cracked it wide open. Here's the truth he drilled into us. You are enough. But being enough doesn't mean staying where you are. It means activating the version of you that already exists, but that you haven't met yet. He introduced us to self-worth mastery and reminded us application creates transformation. Inspiration without action changes nothing. Trent taught the 3 selves. The self-belief, the ceiling on your dream is your belief in it. Self-trust, even when it doesn't make sense, trust your assignment. And self-confidence, the magnet inside of you that draws the world towards your mission. One line from Trent's presentation that I won't forget is stop bringing your dreams to people who aren't dreamers. It's not just inspirational, it's strategic, because your environment either affirms or erodes your purpose. Following on from Trent, we had Russell Brunson, the co-founder of ClickFunnels, and he brought the heat with his one-to-many selling framework. You're not selling a product, you're selling a map that helped you win. That was the whole positioning behind his one-to-many selling framework. Now, he does run a one-to-many selling boot camp. It's a multi-day live boot camp. There'll be a link in the description below if you want to sign up for that event. It's a fantastic event and it will help you dial in your one-to-many selling. During his session, he broke the framework down for us. He's hook, stop the scroll. Story, transfer the belief, and 3, the offer. Stack so much value that they'd feel crazy to say no. Now, you'll also hear another speaker during the sessions that I'm doing on Funnel Hacking Live that talks about making sure that when you're stacking the offer, it makes sense. No good including beach towels if your offer is all about visiting a desert, for example. So back to Russell. He took us inside this perfect webinar funnel formula, the origin story, map, the explanation, the proof, false belief busting, and he didn't hold back. Russell reminded us that your best offer doesn't win by being perfect. It wins by being understood, and I couldn't agree more. And the real joy with having someone like Russell at an event like this is the unexpected moments. So here we have Russell taking us through his one-to-many selling framework, but later in the event, he actually built out a perfect webinar using this one-to-many selling framework for an audience member on the spot who was selling a service around dogs and how they can help care for people with different levels of abilities. It was phenomenal to see it live and really reinforced that the model works for any business. Once again, hook, story, offer. If you want to go deeper, if you want to refine or perhaps see a different lens through which you could do one-to-many selling, I definitely recommend jumping into the one-to-many selling bootcamp that he does, and there will be a link below. If you do attend, full transparency, it does support the show and my wider work. Moving on from Russell, though, we went to Eileen Wilder. Now, Eileen is a former pastor turned 7-figure speaking coach. And Eileen walked on stage and rewired how you could view speaking and selling. She showed us that people don't buy from logic, but rather they buy from emotion. Now, just as I've said that, I bet you've nodded in agreement that you know that, but how often do you and I go to sell from a point of logic? She said with her B.I.T.S framework, belief and identity transformation system, and it revealed that amateurs teach, but pros transform. Procrastination is the assassination of your destination was one of those light bulb moments that came out from her speech. She challenged us to stop hiding and to go pro now. Make the decision that in everything that you're going to do, you're going to be the pro version of it. Not the amateur, not the person trying, but you're going to give it its all and be the pro version of it. She gave us a masterclass in speaking that sells. Tell their story using you, not I. I did this versus, or I can help you do this versus you can achieve X by doing Y, and then backing it up with stories that demonstrate the proof points. She also shared that stacking sound bites, uniting the tribe, and transferring energy because energy sells. Now, stacking the sound bites was an interesting take on how to present. She shared with us that stacking sound bites is a way to bring additional credibility to your message. And so a simple example of this is that 2 or 3 slides or 2 or 3 minutes into your presentation, you might share a soundbite, which is a quote from someone notable that aligns obviously with what you're trying to sell, what message you are trying to convey. And the interesting thing about this approach was that it creates a pattern disrupt during your presentation for the audience. So instead of it being your message, it's your message, soundbite, your message, soundbite. And each of those sound bites reinforce your message, but also disrupt the audience so that they become re-engaged. She also reminded us that whenever you're presenting, you are selling. Now, you might say, no, that's not true. Sometimes I'm just there to inform, to inspire, but you are selling because you want them to buy into your idea. Selling isn't just about the transfer of cash for your information or for your services or goods. It's about getting people to buy into your message as well. So belief and identity transformation system, help them see themselves in the story and use sound bites from notable individuals to disrupt the pattern, to reinforce the message, and to keep people engaged. We then moved on in this powerhouse event where breaks were something that you didn't have, and heard from Armand Morin. Now, he's an internet marketing legend. He's done over $100 million in revenue and from the stage selling and on various e-commerce platforms. Armand took us deep into the art of a stack. Now, if you've been to any webinars, you've probably seen the successful ones in a way. You've probably seen an offer stack. If you buy this today, you get X, Y, and Z. And if you buy in the next hour, we'll throw in A and B as well. That's essentially what a stack is. But Armand took us through the stack in more detail. And he was reminding us that during your presentation, you should always make sure that every word in the pitch earns its place. If it doesn't add to the pitch, if it doesn't add to the belief that this is the right product for them, then it doesn't deserve to be spoken. It doesn't deserve to be on this page. It doesn't help you move forward. Now, he showed us how to layer our offers in a way that builds perceived value and that shocks with the drop. And the stack isn't fluff, it's the crescendo. It's like classical music, he was saying. It's about creating a buying frenzy. And when you do it right, you don't need a hard close because the value closes the deal for you. And that's an interesting perspective because the stack is about delivering value, and that value creates the desire and the frenzy for people to buy versus you creating or some sort of hard close. An interesting way to look at the stack. I'm going to do a separate session just on offers. I talk about it in my live classes. In the stack, think of it like this. Your customers are going to buy your core product. But to create the frenzy, the energy, the excitement to buy it now, you give them additional things to help make them achieve the transformation. It's not about layering on more things. It's about laying on more items that will help them achieve the transformation. That's key. So how could you do that? So if you had a 4-day selling online course like Russell Brunson, the stack might include things like free 90-day ClickFunnels account. Why is that important? Because if I've taught you how to sell, you then need to be able to get the sales. And if I've taught you how to sell, I need you to be able to get the audience to show up to sell to. So the stack should help you achieve the transformation, not be disconnected from it. Second thing you might put into the stack is access to storytelling secrets from yourself or from, if you're in Russell's world, he obviously has lots of resources, lots of past things. So again, why would you put that in? Because it helps you become better at achieving the transformation. It moves you from point A to point B faster. Now, there is some more keys to that stack. Yes, first of all, you must create an alignment between your core offer and your bonus items or your stack items. But in doing so, you solve one problem and potentially create another, which you then either solve with another item in your stack, or it becomes that next anchor point, which might be a conversation with your customers down the path. Armand Morin, it's Morin, has done over $100 million online, and he swears by stacking the offers to build that buying frenzy. How can you stack them today to make saying yes to your core offer irresistible, a no-brainer? We then moved on to Ashley Kirkwood. Now, she's an attorney turned movement making speaking coach, and wow, she really rocked the stage. There's no other way to say it. She brought the energy. On the stage, she had this big fake busts made out of plywood, painted in yellow, and she used that as part of her storytelling about how you can kill sameness. She, in fact, was challenging us to kill sameness. Now, she uses props a lot in her presentations to help create that pattern interrupt from here's another speaker about speaking or another speaker about whatever the topic might be. And like I said, she had this big bus, and the bus was to show us how to stand out, to stop the scroll, and to spark a movement. Now, she weaved the bus into her presentation, including bringing people up onto the stage from the audience and having them in the bus and outside of the bus. The point is, when you're on stage, is there something you can incorporate, something physical, a prop, that you can incorporate into your presentation that helps keep people engaged? Or in an online ad, to stop the scroll, to spark a conversation. She reminded us that you can't convert attention if you don't capture attention. So use props, passion, and purpose. She calls that the trifecta, to stand out, to stop the scroll, and to spark a move. We moved on from Ashley and then went to Tim Shields. He's a photographer turned 7-figure webinar automation expert. And that really doesn't do him justice. He's living proof that automated webinars still work big time, but you can't have a successful auto webinar if you haven't mastered doing the live webinar. That's the first key message, because you have to know what works, where people engage with it, where they don't, so that you can refine it and build it out over time. Tim showed us his origin story paired with his irresistible lead magnets and lifestyle automation that has fueled over 47,000 sales of his masterclass. And his approach is lead with transformation, drive, show up, and reward action. Now, some of the things here that I took out and that I remember to this day, lead magnets. You've probably heard of them. You've probably created one. And if you haven't created one, you've definitely downloaded one at some point in the last 6 months, if not in the last 6 days, hopefully not in the last 6 minutes, but you get the point. You have interacted with a lead magnet. Most of those lead magnets are PDF documents that deliver the bare minimum. Now, the Tim Shields way is he actually creates the lead magnet and displays the lead magnet as a book. So it's formatted like a book. It's got beautiful imagery on the cover. It's got a proper cover. And you can buy his lead magnet through Amazon, because it uses Amazon self-publishing tools to have it as a purchasable book through their platform. He does that for a couple of reasons. First of all, it automatically increases the perceived value of the book. Second, whatever the price he puts it on sale on Amazon is the price that he can claim that the lead magnet, the free lead magnet, is worth. And third, it further extends his perceived level of authority because of all these books that people buy and comment on Amazon. And he's willing to give it to you free if you go through his lead magnet funnel, right? When you look at his webpage and you see this book, it doesn't feel like a lead magnet. It feels premium. It feels like something of value. So I really took that away from him and personally felt quite challenged about how can we recreate our lead magnets to be more premium, to have a higher perceived value and increase our credibility at the time. So a little bit of extra effort, and he does put a lot of effort into his lead magnets, can completely shift how they're perceived. And it's one of the tools he uses to get people engaged and to sign up for his webinars. Now, the next thing he does with his webinars is he actually offers a free gift. Now, that free gift could be for the first 5 people. It could be to everyone. But the key is you have to be at the entire webinar to get the gift. And he talks about that gift through the webinar to remind people to stick around. There's a reason to stick around. And he's done some phenomenal dramatic presentations which gain attention. He used things like Starlink to actually do a live presentation, a live webinar from the Grand Canyon. He's done a live presentation on an iced lake. These dramatic demonstrations are a challenge to you and I to think bigger, to do bold acts, to gain attention. Because if you were interested in photography and the photographer was coming to you live from one of the most photographed, one of the most beautiful areas, and he's sharing how to achieve these great looks with you, that's more interesting than turning up to some guy sitting in a studio telling you how to be a great photographer, right? So how can you apply that to you and your expertise? So he reminded us that his approach is to lead with transformation, and that scaling doesn't have to mean burnout. So you don't have to do 100 live webinars every month. You need to dial in your webinar, and then you can automate it. And he believes with the right system, you can be selling 24/7 without sacrificing your soul. We then moved on to Josiah Grimes. He's a real estate investor and really leans into the video sales letter funnel. He broke down what he calls the Frankenstein funnel. Ultimately, he said, we spend too much time on video sales letters being pretty. And he said they don't need to be. They just get the camera out and start recording. It's the message and the offer that matters. He thinks also that using quiz funnels and AI-driven segmentation and lead scoring will help you deliver more personalized, or what appears to be more personalized, video sales letters in your funnel, and that will help lead conversion. He said that the truth is, if your funnel's in the sad zone, more spend than return, the answer isn't to quit, it's to test smarter. So don't just have one video sales letter, have multiple, add in a quiz so that you can take people to different letters based on their interests and their pain points. Remember, we're here to deliver a transformation, so we need to talk to the person's pain. Now, we heard earlier that every word in your pitch should earn its place. Josiah's statement was that every link, every step in the buyer's journey should earn its place or get replaced. If it's not helping convince the customer that you can help them achieve the transformation and therefore they should buy from you, then it doesn't serve to exist in the funnel, in the journey that you take your customers on. So there you have it. Day 2 of Funnel Hacking Live 10. I've given you in about 24 minutes what was speaker after speaker, 8 hours of constant thought, constant inspiration, constant ways to transform in small and big ways. I talked to you about Tim and his lead magnets, how he makes them look premium. What would that do to your lead magnets if you improved them to feel more premium, to deliver more value, to stand on their own? How is it that you could improve your business if you'd learned to stop the scroll, to re-engage and create a communication? And to recap really quickly, Trent started by reminding us that greatness begins with you and me. We need to make the decision, each of us individually, to absolutely show up and to do our best and to transform so that our best is always delivering. Russell gave us the map on how to sell it. Eileen told us how to speak to transform, not to inform. And I've shared with you today a couple of hints that you could implement straight away. You could go and change your lead magnets. You could change your offer to help people speed up their transformation. Armand showed us how to stack like a pro. Really simple. Make sure everything that you put in your stack adds value, helps people achieve the transformation that they're looking for, and solves problems. Now, in doing that, you might create other problems because they might have so many customers that they now need a CRM system. You don't have to solve everything. You have to solve the core problem that your core offer is leading to solve. Ashley, of course, reminded us to be radically unforgettable. And Tim proved that you can automate sales without losing humanity. And Josiah gave us a really important reminder that video sales letters absolutely can work, but you have to be talking to the person and their pain points. And me, I just didn't sit in the crowd. I showed up to invest because I know that every insight I gain is a seed I can plant in the businesses I help to grow. Transform the experience, transform your business. And until next time, stay bold, stay brave, and stay legendary.